tell us a little bit about how the Halldorophone made its way into automation, and also just how the actual Halldorophone that we have came to be.
Yes. So, as we all know, it was a journey for the Halldorophone to arrive in Los Angeles. But after we came up with our concept and the narrative, and again, AI and technology, and I did a ton of research, I eventually came across the Halldorophone, and then spoke to the builder Halldór, and then engaged the college to help commission this instrument. So Occidental College is the first institution, certainly in the United States, and I believe in the entire world, to commission and now own this instrument. And then you, my friend, debuted it and premiered 3 student compositions from Oxy in December, which was just fantastic for me to sort of see you bring it to life, because I'm not a cellist, and of course I've had it for several months, and I would play with it to just generate some fascinating sounds and colors. But you, as an actual cellist, are really able to present it in a more musical manner. But talk to us. How do you describe the sound? How do you like playing it? One of one of the things I'm most drawn to is the fact that you can't really control it, which is why it also felt fitting in terms of our narrative with AI.
Well, I think you're being quite kind in saying that I knew how to play it, because the Halldorophone may look like a cello, but it's a completely different instrument. And in many ways, I was and still am getting to grips with its possibilities. I would best describe the Halldorophone as this like drone-like instrument with vibrating metal parts and feedback, lots of distortion, some really rich overtones, and it has a wealth of sounds that it can produce. But I've certainly been drawn to these creepy, sort of eerie vibrations.
It does have this sort of, for me, I feel like it has this profoundly deep undertone, like this belly sound that just you're so drawn to it, hence the drone nature of it. But then, of course, as you said, these overtones and other textures come to life.
And I've played a ton of experimental music. I've made my living in New York, which is a new music town. I've hit and done everything with a cello for many concerts other than the way it was intended to be played. And I'm pretty sure I'd never really heard anything like the sounds that were coming out of Halldorophone. And what's even more wild is, like you said, playing it, plucking it, even just holding a string down and not doing anything more than that, because of the feedback. It creates these sounds that grow, and they take on a life of its own. It was wild. That's the word that keeps coming back to me. Your students did a fantastic job in basically a semester of exploring the instrument and coming up with 3 very distinct pieces. And I immediately saw the possibilities. Of course, with the Halldorophone, we can't go long without mentioning Hildur, Oscar-winning composer of The Joker primarily. It's an Arrival. I'm not entirely sure if it actually was in HBO's Chernobyl, because she tends to feature more actual recordings from nuclear power plants. But even so, that ambiance, that everything really drew me in, and it fit in with our automation, certainly the other side, the non-human side.
Right, and there's definitely a certain sound design component that the instrument just breathes.
And to feature it in the middle of the piece, in this spotlighted moment, after all the crazy pyrotechnics of the AI cello, the hologram, and me going back and forth with the orchestra going nuts and the electronics. This middle section for me is really at the heart and soul of automation. And we both knew that we wanted to spotlight this instrument, but not deter from it. Really just let it sit on its own and let the audience experience it. But then that beautiful chorale that you wrote, I think quite possibly, I remember you were sending me emails overnight. I think you wrote it in one night in a moment of inspiration, but that just achingly beautiful, you know, juxtaposition for me, it's like nothing I've heard in music before, and I really look forward to sharing that with our audiences.